Okay, so I've tried to do this video like 5 times now and have been interrupted, so we're gonna cross our fingers and hope that I can get this one done. But I wanted to make a video of the things that I was gonna show in my Bible journaling class tonight for those people that weren't gonna be able to be there. So tonight we are going over watercolor pencils, ink pencils, and gelatos, which are 3 of my favorites because they make everything colorful and fun, and they're just fun to play with. So what I've done is I've made a copy of a page in my Bible that didn't have a whole lot of illustration over here. And I've already pre-gessoed this thing. So I've already gessoed it, so it's kind of prepared. So I got this done, and what I've got is I've got watercolor pencils, and the ones I have are called Magic Fly, and I got a set of like 72, so you can see like there's a whole bunch. All these ones that are pointing up, those are all the watercolor pencils. The ones that are pointing down are the ink pencils. And the reason I have them pointing down because the tips of them look a different color than the color that they end up being when you add water to them. So the color they end up being is on this tip right here. So that's why I have them down. And then gelatos, I have a whole bunch of gelatos all in this side. They kind of look like lipsticks or something. So I just grabbed a few of each, but I have Magic Fly watercolor pencils. Now, I got those off of Amazon, but there are these watercolor pencils at Walmart, right here. These are in the scrapbook aisle. They're like $7.99. I bought some, I tried them out. They're really pretty good. I like them a lot, so if you want to play with them and you're not wanting to spend a whole lot of money or order off of Amazon right now, those would be a really good option. So I'm not gonna do anything too fancy. I'm gonna show you just a basic, what I call a circle rose technique. So I'm gonna take a red with the watercolor pencil, and I'm on a gessoed page. And the reason I like a gessoed page for the watercolor pencils is because it keeps the watercolor from bleeding through to the other side. So I did a red, I just made a scribble circle. I'm gonna do an orange one beside it. It's kind of hard to see the difference in those 2 colors, but maybe when we add water you'll be able to see. And then I'm gonna do a purple one beside those. Oops, if I can. It's kind of hard to do it one-handed and hold the thing. And then I'm gonna take a green and make some little leaves like this. Nothing too fancy, and just kind of color those in. Okay, and then what I'm gonna use is called a water pen. Okay, and they come in various sizes. I ordered a set off of Amazon that has several different sizes, but it looks like this. They have different tips on them. Some of them are flat, some of them are pointed like this one. You fill this side right here with water, and you can just squeeze it and water will come out. So like, let me show you, if I just drip it on the, if I squeeze it, you see that water coming out there? And then I always keep a paper towel here, so if there's color in between colors, I can wipe it on my paper towel. So I've got that, and you're just gonna take that water, see how it all just kind of turns to watercolor into a big circle. And what's cool about these roses is anybody can do this because it's just a scribbled circle. So then I'm going to do this one. It's a brighter kind of red. That other one's kind of a pink. The barrel of that pencil looked orange, but this is pink. And you'll notice that the words are pretty easy to see through these, and that's one thing that a lot of people really like. So here's the purple. And you can kind of leave the lines in there if you don't put too much water with them. I like to kind of blend it all out, so I like it better when you don't have any of the lines where you colored. So this is watercolor pencils. One thing about watercolor pencils is this can dry, and I can go back later with the water and move it around again. It's just like watercolors. So just because they're dry for the moment, that doesn't mean that they're permanently dry. So I'm gonna leave those alone. We'll fix them and make them look like flowers here in just a minute. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you what an ink pencil will do and the difference. So here's the watercolor pencil. So I've got, my ink pencils look like this. These are from Derwent, I think is how you say that. It may be Derwent, I don't really know, but ink tints is what these are called. These are much brighter, and they have a tendency, more so than the watercolor, to possibly cover up words. So you got to be careful as far as how dark you color on these. So let me kind of just show you. There's a purple. And you notice I'm not even coloring these in that well. You don't really have to, because when you add water to them, they turn all liquefied like paint. Okay, the difference with the ink tints versus the watercolor, a couple differences. One is they're brighter, they're more intense. Okay, the other thing is once these dry, then they're dry. Like, I can go back over them and add another color. You'll see how much brighter that one is than those up there. It's just a very deep coloring. Now you can still see these words, but you can imagine if I got a really dark brown or something like that, I would have a hard time. Or if it was kind of a busy design. But the colors are much more vibrant. These are probably one of my favorites. Once I let go of covering up words, these became one of my favorites. Okay, so there's those 3 circles. So see the difference there in those? And you can kind of tell that purpley color. If you look at the tip of this, it looks more like a plum. It looks like the color that I colored up here. But if you look at the end, it's more this pinkish mauve burgundy color, mulberry color. So with the ink tints pencils, they do change some colors. So be careful with that. Okay, the last one I want to do like this is the gelatos. So the gelatos look like, kind of like a lipstick or something. So they're Faber-Castell, but there's some other brands. These I found at Hobby Lobby. So I'm going to color like that. And I'm going to tell you a couple of things about the gelatos that are a little bit different than the others. And these are, they feel waxier, but what's weird is when they dry, they don't have that waxy feel. Okay. But they are much thicker than the pencils. Okay, they're a little harder because they are like a crayon to control as far as like drawing like a leaf design or whatever, but when you add water to it, you just create that leaf design with the water. Okay, so you can add water to these. Now, the thing about gelatos is you don't have to add water to these. You can leave them like they are. I prefer to be able to kind of blend it and smooth the edges and things like that. So, and then you can kind of see how it gets a little bit thinner in places too. There's the purple. I think the purple is really pretty. And then the blue. And then the green leaves. Okay, so before I do the finishing touches on these, we're going to let them dry for a little bit. I want to show you one more thing with the gelatos. One thing that's really nice about the gelatos is you don't have to use gesso underneath it. So say I wanted to do just a really cool background and I wanted to use this kind of reddish color. I'm just going to put some blobs of red over here on these words. And it just looks like scribbles. And the blue. And so when they mix, they may make kind of a purple color. And then I might even want a little section of yellow in there. And another thing you can't really see is these gelatos, a lot of them have like a shimmer to them. So they kind of leave a shimmer. But if you do this and you have a damp paper towel, you can take that paper towel. Let me see if I can figure this out. Hold on. I'll use my cup to hold the paper down. Okay, take a damp paper towel and you kind of just rub those gelatos and kind of just blend them out. That's not just real wet, it's just barely damp. But I'm just kind of rubbing it to kind of give it like this cool watercolor background look. So then I can do something on top of that if I want to. Okay, so last little thing to kind of fix my flowers, because right now they just look like little round blobs, is you're going to take a marker. The ones that work the best on top of, especially on top of the gelatos or anything with a brush tip. So it needs to be like a brush tip like this. Now if you're gonna write with a marker and then paint, you need to use a Sharpie pen, not Sharpie marker, but Sharpie pen, because that one won't bleed with the water. So you could like draw your picture and then color it in and it won't bleed. But let's start down here with watercolor ones. So what you do is you just start in the middle and you just make a swirl. Ta-da, you have a rose. Okay, if you start at the top or on the edge and make it kind of an oblong swirl, and then just do that. There's another kind of rose. And you can even do a little flower like that, daisy type flower, like that. And there you go, you got yourself a little bouquet. Okay, so then right here, and the cool kind of thing about this kind of stuff is you don't really have to, the color can be outside the lines and it's not a big deal. And that stresses out some people like my mom, but I think it'll be okay. I could do this one where I do like this and then go down. So I've got little flowers like that. Same basic thing here. Let's make this one kind of a cone flower. Oh, the gelato's not quite dry, so it's not wanting to write. So the gelatos are real picky. They have to be dry or else the marker won't write on them. But you get the general idea. So you're doing that kind of a thing. I do have some markers that I bought that are called slick writers that will write on those gelatos even if they're still wet. Let me find one. Here's one. And they look like this. They come in a package of fine, medium, and bold. I may need the bold one for that purple because it's not going to show up. But you get the kind of idea there. You can even, on things like this where it's the background, you could draw some, well, let me get these pens to work. Maybe. There we go. So you could do some designs. Just even over top of the background.